On this episode of Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered, we talk about video. We go deep into content, what you should do and shouldn't be doing, what you can do for your company branding, what not to do. It's going to be an incredible show. Tune in. You talk about it privately. We talk about it publicly. This is the Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered podcast. Welcome again to the Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, James Dwiggins, along with my co-host, Keith Robinson, a.k.a. Crazy Uncle Keith.
Yes, sir.
Keith, tell us about Brooks Landry, the CEO of ContentDrip.io.
Yes, we got Brooks on the pod today. He's going to be talking about video, the creator economy, what you should and shouldn't do as a real estate agent or even as a real estate business. No, newsflash, don't twerk in front of your open house sign was one of them.
I got that one. Yeah,
he's been doing video well before it was cool. He's had a YouTube channel for more than a decade. He's forgotten more about doing video probably than most folks that are out there. Good guy, tons of knowledge in the space, and he shares really transparently. It's an awesome episode.
It's going to be an awesome show. By the way, we're also releasing our new business, which is digitalbotox.ai.
Listen to the pod for details.
See you then.
Yeah.
Brooks, we're super excited to have you on the show. You know, I wanted to say that in our green room, I realized that both Brooks and I have met Keith at a bar.
Yeah.
That's literally how we met.
Theme.
It's always starts with a cocktail in a bar. So
most good conversations will involve a libation.
That is true.
This is true.
Yeah.
No great conversation started with a dinner salad ever.
No, or a tea.
What do you mean? I drink tea.
Exactly.
Whatever. Judgy. Brooks, so tell the listeners and viewers just a quick background on who you are, how you got into this space, because we have a lot of some very deep conversations we want to have on content and all sorts of things. But let's start there before we get into our rapid fire questions. So
yeah. So I have Reader's Digest version, probably the best.
Yes, please.
Yeah, for those of you that are below the age of 30, Reader's Digest. Never mind.
Yeah.
So,
the ADD version.
Yes.
18 years in the real estate mortgage space, and I got into real estate about 13 years ago, and immediately started to use video to touch my farm, touch my database. Anybody that knew, or trusted me, I needed to send video out. I had this massive YouTube channel with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos 11 years ago when I had less grays. I looked malnourished and weak.
Yeah.
I looked like, I was just a complete disaster, but I was getting shit done.
Yeah.
Kind of fast forward a little bit, I created a video marketing company, and we have a service with that provides short form video content for lenders and realtors to stay in front of their database. So we write all the content, we coach them one-on-one how to deliver it, we edit it for them, we have a posting service for them. So it's essentially everything a realtor or lender or really any service-based business needs to stay in front of the people that know, like, and trust them, their database.
So doing the things that they're not actually going to do, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything but being in front of the camera.
That's it. Yeah. That's the one thing I need you to show up for about an hour and a half.
So the company is ContentDrip.io, just for clarity on that. Okay. Yep. So you've been in the space, you've been doing this, and now you have a company that's actually doing it for the industry as well, which is why we're obviously chatting. You are expert in this area of creating awareness in video and social media. So. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to dive a lot into this because we're going to both talk about the things agents should be doing and not doing,
and some things they are doing that they shouldn't be doing. And
then how to create all of this stuff, etc. But we always do and start our shows with our rapid fire questions. So I'll start with the first one. Keith can jump in after. If you were a superhero, who would it be and why? Quick fire responses.
I had to look this up. I think it's Dr. Faustus. Whoever it is the power of persuasion. I want to be able to persuade pretty easily. I think that's probably it. I actually just looked it up before we started.
I actually have to look that up myself.
Yeah.
What's the name? Dr. what?
Let me see. It says
Faust is a famous literary character,
Faustus?
I think.
Dr. Faustus.
Is this Marvel or like
Marvel's biggest superheroes? Yeah.
That is not biggest.
Well, I hadn't even heard of that guy. So
his voice is in a highly persuasive manner. So I want to be able to provide. I want to be able to.
You know who else has that? Keith Robinson does that too.
He does.
So.
You're damn right, I do.
This is very aggressive. I don't know about persuasive. So
well, both work.
Yeah, that is true.
To get what you want. Favorite book or podcast this year and why?
Atomic Habits, creating new routines, getting things back on top, and trying to dial things in a little bit more.
Yeah, that was the best book I read last year by far.
Was
Not
it?
even close. Yeah.
We've had a couple of guests say that, by the way. So listeners, if you haven't done that, grab that book. So
I'm forcing it on my 14-year-old son right now too. So
he's super stoked, I'm sure.
He's pumped.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right. So if you could have lunch with one person, current or historical, who would it be and why?
Not to take it down a notch, but I'd want to have one last lunch with my mom, right? Sometimes when you miss people,
that's a great answer.
I want to have another lunch with moms. That's it.
Absolutely.
Mama's boy. All right. So
me too. If you got a problem with it.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive in here. We put a bunch of questions down, but I love this because I'm the first person to say, and I've been doing this a long time, that we don't utilize video enough. And I think that people get scared about doing it, and we'll jump into all of that. But, why is video so important in this new sort of creator economy? Talk to us about the importance of it now. I mean, it's been around for a while. Youth has been around forever, but like what's the driving force on it now?
I mean, there's so many. As it's cost effective. I think it's the most cost effective way for you to get yourself, your name, your brand out in front of your database, your clients that know, like, and trust you, or just trying to grow a brand. It's important to show. I think it's great as far as showing your mannerisms, your energy. I think it's the perfect interview. Right, any client that I'm working with, if I'm representing you in the sale of your property, and we haven't spoken, haven't met before, a quick little video introduction. Hey, James, it's Brooks. Blah blah blah. I'm here to help. You know who's going to be at the door. So I think it's just your perfect interview is really what it is.
Do you think that people overthink it now? Like I when I think about video back in the day, everyone was like, "Oh, I don't want to do it because I got to hire this guy, and then it's got to be professionally produced, and it's too expensive." And I keep maybe I'm off, and you're the expert here, but I keep telling people nobody gives a shit. Like, just get on damn camera, and you could see all the raw crap put out on TikTok. Like, can we? Just get. Let's be honest.
You sound so old right now.
But it is there's so much stuff that's just no one put any thought to it. Are people overthinking it in our business, and they just need to get more content out?
Oh my God, overthinking, absolutely. In fact, I deal with it on a daily basis. Ever since we released this new service, for the past 2.5 years, we started it. The number one question is, I hate the way I look. I hate my voice. How do I do this? There's too much. There's a lot that goes into it.
You know what I always say to people when they say that? I'd be like, have you ever sold a house? And they say yes. And I was like, with that face? And they say yes. You're selling houses right now with that mug. So go ahead and put it on video. If I could do it, literally anyone could do it. My head's shaped like a bullet.
I literally just wrote a script kind of going through the fact that nobody cares your voice or what you look like. In fact, my first video that I did, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 years ago on YouTube, I was sweating. I had to change my shirt 2 or 3 times, massive pit sweats, chest sweat. My face
that is a visual I did not need.
I'm talking to my wife and I'm like, babe, do I sound like an idiot? Am I dumb, right? Is this what you married? I'm trying to disguise my New England accent a little bit. It's just, you just got to be yourself is what it is. Don't think, just do it.
So how do you coach people past that, right? Because it is a big mental barrier, right? For everyone. No one likes the way they sound. No one likes the way they look. We're our own worst critic. How do you help them push past that?
Well, it's funny because the ones that tend to do that are always doing little selfies and talking on their phone in the middle of the day. They're shooting stories. I'm like, you're doing it already. Just go through more reps on it. So one thing when I first started was I signed up with BombBomb.com years ago. And they had this training course where it's essentially shoot this, send it to a friend, do this, send it to whoever, and just kind of continue practice. It's really repetition. And what I found with the content service that we have is we've had a lot of clients that were in the same boat, all in their head. They're super judgmental about themselves, their appearance, and by the end of it, or while they're in the process, it's usually a couple months into it, they're like, shit, I feel so much more comfortable. And then they start shooting videos on their own. It's reps. It's reps, just like anything in life.
Let me dig a little deeper though, because I think, one of the beauties of video is you can connect, right? You can connect more, you can be more transparent. They can get to truly know you so that they feel like they know you when you hit the front door, right? Which is something that you commented on. But like a lot of people, this may sound judgy, but a lot of people probably shouldn't jump on and just start recording what they actually think. Like, how do you balance...
Keith Robinson is one of those people.
Look, guilty. How do you balance because there's a work me and then there's a not work me, right?
Totally.
And they're similar, like they know each other, they hang out sometimes, but they're not the same. So how do you balance being transparent but understanding where the line is, or should there be no line and just like let it rip, tater chip?
So it's funny that I'm stealing that, by the way. By the way, anytime I have drinks with Keith, I leave with like notes being like, I'm stealing.
By the way, I'm surprised it was tater chip and usually not tater tot, but that's fine. We'll keep going with the conversation. I know, I got you. Yeah.
So how do you balance that? I mean, there's a few different... So I've had a few buddies of mine that do a ton of content. Matt Leonetti is a buddy of mine out of... Toronto, Canada. He's with the agency and he's like, fuck it. I'm just being myself. Just do your whole thing. My Be a Realtor series. He's like, turn that up even louder, try to even be a little bit more. I'm like, I don't know. So for me, I've always been the type of person that it doesn't, there is a line. It's kind of a dot, it becomes a
Yours
dot.
is a dot. Yours is a dot. Well, I think that for starters anyway, be the professional version of you, right? The way you would be at an open house or the way you would be. You're still yourself, right? You're still being who you are. Maybe don't go full tilt until you've sort of waded into the water a little bit, but be your professional version of you and then just start, right? You find your voice through time.
Tell us. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, I also think there's a Gary Vee effect that really has hit social media, right? Where everybody and their mother,
Gary Vee.
I mean, everybody and their mother is F-bomb this, every third word's an F. And this. I'm like, okay, I get what you're trying to do and you're trying to capture attention, but there's different ways of going about it. Again, professional, be yourself, be respectful. I think, if your mom or your grandmother's watching this, is she going to see your manner? Is she going to see your personality out of it? So I think that's a big deal.
The mom test, that's a good one.
What are some things that agents and brokers are doing right? Like, give us some examples of some stuff that they're doing right, and then we'll also go down the wrong category because we have to make fun of some people. We won't name names, but like we'll give some examples. But go down the right category. Like, what are some things that they're doing correctly?
He's like, I got receipts.
I got a list. I got a list. So we'll talk about those guys. What they're doing right, first off, is just getting it done in the first place and actually being consistent with it. And I think too many people they bite off more than they can chew. That being said, there is, I think, a type of content that is valuable to the client. So when we first started, it was like, all evergreen style content, the difference between a 15-year and a 30-year. But we wanted to get away from what we call the dictionary content. FHA stands for Federal Housing. Nobody gives a shit about that. What they care about is what the difference between, a conventional and an FHA loan is, maybe pros and cons, and break that down in a way. I think the agents and the realtors, brokers, lenders that are doing that are bringing more value. You just have to put your feet in the shoes of your client. What are the questions your clients have asked you at the table? Yeah. Just break those questions down into a way that is that resonates, and maybe throw some analogies in there that make sense. And it's in that. But I think kind of reading off the dictionary of mortgage loans is not going to really bring much value.
It's a great book on this specific topic called "They Ask You Answer." I forget the gentleman's name, but the author's name, but They Ask You Answer is a really good book if you're really trying to figure out how to curate content, because he basically just says exactly what you said, which is whatever questions your clients are asking you, answer those questions into a camera.
Right.
100%.
But let's go deep on that one, because I think that's important. Everyone, when I talk to agents, there's the fear factor of like, I'm going to screw up on camera. Congratulations, everybody does. The only way you get better is by practice. But as far as the quality of the content, do they need to worry about like how professional it is? Is it better just to put a stand on your phone and start recording stuff? Like where do people start to be able to get this foundation of getting better over time? Like what kind of quality equipment do they need to do or not?
It's fun. Our business is built around cell phones. So, I mean, we have a virtual service where we work with lenders and realtors all over the country, soon to be Canada, and they shoot from their cell phone. The quality of the camera on the cell is comparable to what we have at our Envision studios. So, that's all you really need. A good light, some good sound. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to have the whole setup.
So they're overthinking it if they have to go hire a professional company to do all this stuff. Like,
in some ways, the more, sort of, I don't know, guerrilla videos or whatever you want to call it, however you want to label them, they seem more authentic, right? If something's too stylized, I'm like, geez, this guy's definitely selling me something. Now, so like the more it's just, but there are some folks who maybe that would feel weird or wonky, right? So your confidence matters. But I think that those a little more grimy video or a little less edited can actually make me trust you more, not less.
Well, what's great is, so our clients that are shooting, we'll shoot a blooper reel. So we have coaching calls with them, right? And they're on a coaching call on Zoom. We're recording it the whole 9 yards, and we'll chop that up into a blooper reel. That blooper reel gets the best engagement out of all of our content, hands down, because it shows that you're authentic. It shows that you're screwing up. You're not,
So this is Keith's brain going right now, where I know him so well that he's wanting to talk about the blooper reel of this show.
Oh, we have one. It's so good.
But we can't post it because
James has got.
I have a profanity problem, and so
that's why you post it.
No, it's bad. Like it's beyond.
Brooks, I'll send it to you.
It's actually really funny. And now we're getting everybody asking to see it. By the way,
it's all part of my master plan.
He's like, we could use this if you didn't have Tourette's all the time with the same, profanity. Well, all right. So I want to know. This is me moving the conversation on, by the way. I want to know, like, what are some great, for people that are listening, do you have great examples of content recently that hit really hard, or people that you think people should follow that do a great job as well? I want to get people to go, I want to go follow up and see what great curators are doing in the space. And like, what does that content look like? And I guess a follow-up is, how often are they posting content so that there's some measure of this is how you do it, consistency.
So touching on that part first, so I post my content every day, and I try to get them to multiple different platforms. So it's just a specific kind of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn. Every now and then that kind of slips by. I don't know why. I need to be a little bit more aggressive. In fact, there's some stat out there that the average person on LinkedIn is posting like 3 videos a month, something crazy like that. So that platform is wide open to be able to show people, who you are. That's a big thing. Content creators that I would follow, I like what we do.
It's okay. So name the channel because we want people to take a look. It's totally fine.
Yeah. So we do a lot of kind of evergreen style, like I mentioned before, but we also chop up kind of news hacks that are relevant to the industry, real estate, mortgage, tax, home design, all that type of stuff, and kind of break it down in a way that makes sense. I really like what Broke Agent Media does. So Eric Simon at Broke Agent Media does a hell of a job. And then there's just so many that are either funny, they go the humorous route. There is kind of like a line.
If someone wants to start, I recommend that they go all the way down the rabbit hole, right? And go find people that you like, because not everybody's going to be, usually you like someone who's like yourself. We're pretty self-absorbed species. And so find someone whose style, content, etc. that you like, because that'll help you get ideas for yours.
Totally. Yep.
There was a couple guys that I was talking to that were doing some interesting stuff. One of them was interviewing new restaurants as they open to get credibility. Basically, you go look up the restaurant and there's this YouTube video of the chef and the owner being interviewed by this agent. And so that's evergreen content of it just stays there for years and years and years. Another one I thought was really clever was a person was doing touring of neighborhoods, but specifically price points of houses and then essentially what you would get for the type of house in that. I just think there's so many great, clever things that you can put online content-wise that sit for years and just continue to create this benefit of people finding it and then calling you. And, it's like free advertising forever.
So I love that. And there's a guy in LA named Chris Beneman. So he took it to a different level. So instead of interviewing and he ties it into listings of his. So instead of interviewing the chef or the owner of the company, he breaks down the best burger and kind of, this is why this burger is better than this type of thing. And by the way, it's a mile away from 123 Main Street. So he kind of brings it all together. New listing hit the market, open house this weekend, right? So, one thing that I've had a lot of success with is a little series called What Buyers Want. And it's essentially just, little things. And if you actually broke a house down into pieces, you can put so many different videos out. So you can talk about the difference between blinds and shutters and what buyers want, whether it's quartz or
marble or granite or
some stone. Take the house, break it all down into little pieces. You can probably get 30, 40 different pieces of content right there that can live in an evergreen state as well and never leave, right? You put that on YouTube. You have a little story set up on Instagram where it's just what buyers want. There's a million ways to kind of break down a real estate contract and transactions and answer those questions out that way, just line by line, if you will.
How many people found you by seeing some content? Like what percentage of the clients, when you're still selling real estate or not? Have you ever,
Yep.
So what percentage of your clients find you from just video content that's out there? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so that's kind of the $1 million question, because it's not that I get a lot of leads through the videos. It's because I've been consistently hitting them over the years that they feel more comfortable with me. I closed a listing about a month ago strictly from video content. A lot of our clients are getting videos and getting conversations and buyer requests and potential listings through the videos they're creating. So what we do is we create the videos and then kind of guide them in a way to post to their email database. And then that just continues to kind of grow and they see you over and over.
So let me ask really directly. Yeah. How many times should I be posting per week?
So once a day, at least once a day, every day, I think. So if you
video
can do that,
or like a video, or does a quote count or a picture of a pretty kitchen or...
Yeah. So you can do it a few different ways. So you can do like a carousel, right? Where it could be like, the benefits of quartz versus marble, whatever the case may be. And that could be one. And then you flip over to the carousel, do another one. So, but one video a day, I think is important. You always hear people say 2 or 3 times a day. That's super unrealistic, right? You're not Gary Vee. You don't have an entire...
What about for the people who feel like once a day like someone's hearing that right now and going, I've never done it. Now you want me to do it once a day? I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah. It's an ease in, right? So you got to kind of ease into it. So my schedule used to be twice a week. I'd shoot about 10 to 12 videos each. So at the end of the week, I got anywhere from 20 to 25 videos that my editors are chopping it up. I've broken that down because it was a little inconsistent. It was tough to kind of keep up with that. More business comes in. You got the family. You're trying to live your life.
Sure.
So every day I do 2. I write 2 scripts a day, shoot 2 videos a day, and then I send 10 of them every week to the editors to get going.
Gotcha.
And then you just continue to kind of drip on from there. So It's not overwhelming. It could take an hour or 2, but if you prepare on Sunday for the week, then you should probably have this in your repertoire or your
the other thing I do sometimes is I'll batch evergreen content, right? So I'll have maybe even 10 or 15 that are in the can that I could post anytime. Right. And then I just record in real time the topical stuff or the headline newsworthy stuff.
What are the things agents should not be doing?
Yeah.
Where do we start?
Well, we were talking about somebody tap dancing prior to the show. That was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
So
he was the tap dancing real estate agent.
It's funny. I've got a good friend of mine in Canada, and the Canadian market and the real estate market, and just realtors in Canada versus realtors in the States are completely different. And she's like, "You guys will do anything to be famous." I'm like, she's like, "It's absolutely insane. Nobody does that in Canada. Maybe a handful of people."
Probably accurate.
And kind of digging deeper into that with her, I'm like, well, show me examples. And it's like, this girl's twerking in front of her for sale sign. This one is,
oh Lord, here we go.
This one's stumbling into the house from a late night drunk to show, wow, those floors are amazing. So there's a few different things. I've always been I've always had a hard no at a day in the life of a realtor. Yeah. And the reason that is, and I've always tried to explain to people, let's do a week in the life of a realtor instead of a day in the life. Because let's be honest, 99.9% of you are not churning and burning the way you should be. And when you start your day in the life at 11 o'clock and you have drinks with the girls, and then you go show a property in Oakland, and then you come back and have more cocktails with the girls, and you're putting that out there, shows that you're
you mean all of the reality TV shows on residential real estate where they also talk shit about their clients on television? That always goes over real well. Yeah,
it's insane. It's insane, and that's the big thing.
I think the reason people do that though is they're focused on the wrong thing. So I'm going to get on my soapbox for just a second. So I think they're chasing dopamine, not dollars. What I mean by that is, if you do something like, you might get a lot of likes, you might get a lot of eyeballs, you know, being edgy, being controversial, doing something you're not supposed to, being naughty, right? On social media, it gets you a lot of likes and a lot of eyeballs, but that's a dopamine response. That doesn't get you dollars, right? So why are you doing this? Are you doing this to become the next Instagram celebrity? Okay, cool. Then knock yourself out, because you won't be in real estate forever. You're actually using this as a path for something else. Do your thing. But if you're really trying to become an expert in residential real estate and position yourself that way, then you should be focused not on the dopamine response, but on the dollars you generate and create from the content that you put out there.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you 100% on that. For me, and I've had some people ask questions about how I've structured my social media and why I've chosen what I've chosen to put out there in my business. But I'm with Real Brokerage, right? So we're like, we're a virtual real estate brokerage, and we do have, the agent attraction form of things as well. So kind of building that brand, connecting with people all over the country has Be a Realtor series has built my downline, essentially.
Yeah, you're a little edgy. Your Be a Realtor series does make fun of real estate professionals, right? But I also know you, and you're a little edgy. Like, you would have that same conversation at coffee or a cocktail that you're
being your authentic self. And Keith and I are edgy too, so I totally get it. Let me ask you this on companies: what should companies be doing?
I want to pin that down a little more too, because the company one to me is even more interesting. Like, not everybody can be Wendy's, right? Like, Wendy's is famous for clapping back and being hilarious and being funny. How do you thread that needle to James's point? How do you thread the needle of being a professional company and being the, social media is one of the ambassadors, right? That's people are experiencing your company through it. How do you thread that needle?
Yeah, I think the best way is to somehow create a series around the culture within the company. And I think what'll happen as you're doing that, it'll either tell you your culture sucks, or wow, you could actually kind of push this together, right? So like Real, we've been sitting on these calls with a handful of agents. I'm lucky enough to be one of them around the country, where we're trying to build out a video series where we're digging deeper into the culture. The chief technical, the CTO and the CMO and all these people that are part of leadership, kind of what breaks them down, what makes them who they are. And it's really just kind of like a breakdown of the culture, of why we're different. And I think you can spin that in a million different ways. You got to use your strengths, and you got to break down that. It's always, anytime you're selling anything, is you sell those benefits and features and why they could be of value to the viewer or the audience.
Is there a place where the company is competing with the agent, where it crosses over at all from a perspective of content?
Good question. There can be. I think if the company is sticking strictly to what makes them, without beating down other companies, right? This is what differentiates us. I think if you stay in your lane and that's your role as a company, that's what you do. As far as the agent, let him brand himself, her brand herself the way needed.
Do you think that the comment you made was interesting? Do you think that companies should be just focused on their strengths and not going down the negative road of ragging on other firms? I'm just curious, because I've seen it both ways. So
yeah, no, I totally do. In fact, that's one thing that they really preach at our company is do not talk about, the big brother in our same space. We don't talk about them. Let them talk about us, and then we'll, kind of go from there. But yeah.
Well, let's ask you this. I'm really curious. Where do you see artificial intelligence, since everybody uses that like a game of bingo these days? Where do you see artificial intelligence going?
do a podcast without an AI question?
You can't.
You can't.
I was at an event recently, and about 30 minutes in, I was like, we should play a shot game with the word artificial intelligence. We'll all be drunk in 35 minutes.
Yes.
Like, it was crazy. But
I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, genuinely, what do you think is going to happen with content? Do you see it being easier? Do you see it making it so that it's less authentic? Like, where do you see that going with video content, AI, and sort of the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I'll talk from my experience. When ChatGPT came out, the whole world shut down. Right? Everybody was talking about it. Yeah. In fact, myself, and I was talking with some of my business partners, I'm like, we're fucked. We're fucked. Like, this is what we're doing is, how we create our content and how we prep everything. That these guys are just going to go for it. But what I found out quickly was, for example, call ChatGPT, where, if you're writing a script or creating some sort of story or blog or whatnot, they're handling like 70% of it. You still need to be able to dial in and actually tweak that script. So anybody that says, I just get my stuff from ChatGPT and that's my script, well, they're kind of BS, because I think my experience over the past 18 years allows me to take any one of those and actually tweak it into a form that my clients, your clients, and any audience is going to understand, if that's the realm, if that's the area. There's definitely a need for it. I think it makes us more efficient. I think if you're not using it, then you're going to be left behind. It's funny. It's like, if you're not doing video, you're going to be left behind. But if you're not embracing these AI bots and how AI is created as far as just creating content, you should quit.
Yeah, so there's a great
tap out. Yeah.
There's a great quote somebody said. I'm going to get it wrong, but the idea was, AI isn't going to replace the agent, but AI empowered agents will replace agents.
None.
Yeah. I think that's a very relevant piece. I'm just curious. I'm now. I actually look for this now because I find this humorous. When I see emails come across, and you can tell the tone is different from the person writing it. I've actually responded to be like, hey, I didn't know you were so eloquent. Did you write that response, or did somebody else?
People aren't really doing that, are they?
They are. Yeah.
You didn't even graduate high school. How the hell did you put all those together? Where did that come from?
Why did you use the word extemporaneous? Yeah.
You're like, that's not even in your vocabulary.
But I know you're asking Brooks, but I'm going to answer. And then we'll hear Brooks's answer. But I think fake is fake, and you can tell. Like, at least today, right? Like, I've seen Frank Sinatra doing Snoop Dogg or whatever on social media, right? And it's interesting, it's entertaining, but it doesn't sound like Snoop, and it doesn't sound like Frank, right? Like, it's not real yet.
It's not. So kind of we kind of tapped on the deep fake, but it's like not. Eventually, that's what everybody will think. As this generation kind of goes through and that continues, that is real to them. But I think for us right now, we know the difference. I think if you are creating content and going back to the ChatGPT thing, and that's how you're hey, ChatGPT, write a script about 30 year versus 15 and make it funny. And I'm telling you, it's the most corny ass script you've ever heard. Hey, real estate peepers, that's how I'm like, who the hell's going to say that? And that's the breakdown of it. You got to take that and completely take like 45% of that crap out and just put your own little thing in it. But
authenticity is your underlying comment. Like, be who you are. ChatGPT can't replace that. And candidly, I think we would all agree that that's what people are looking for, is they want to relate to someone. And to your comment earlier, which I think is really important, is you're like, I don't know what to attribute how many deals I got from video, but people know me when they call me because they've watched me, they've seen me, they see how I interact, how I talk, they know what to expect, which I think is awesome. By the way, I just had a great idea now that I said that.
We'll see if it's
No, it's a really good one. You know how realtors use a photo from 25 years ago that isn't actually who they look like today? Imagine when video content comes out where you can make you look like you were 25 years younger. Like, top seller.
Oh, digital Botox?
Yes, that's the name of the business, digital Botox.
So I got to go buy the URL. I got to go.
Oh, you got to go get that right now.
Digital right now.
Botox.
Digital Botox, Botox.ai, just to make sure that we're putting that in there. All right, Keith, round us out. We're at the end of the show. And take us home on this, Brooks. Like, this is a good question. Like, really give people some like key things to walk away with here. And we asked this of all of our guests at the end. If you were a real estate broker or agent, what's the one thing you would add to your business today
to make a difference?
If I'm not doing,
You can say,
yeah, video, right?
Well, I get it, but like go deeper. Like what we obviously video, and like what should we do? Yeah.
So what I would incorporate in what I'm working on with our company is to incorporate your digital farm with your physical farm. I started in real estate with a physical farm, door knocking, following, getting emails, contacts from there. That's exactly how I've grown my business. So incorporating the digital with the physical in the sense of, you've all heard of thumbnails, but about I think Jason Pantana quoted, I think I stole this from him, but he had brought up thumb mail, where essentially you've got your mailer comes in, it's got a QR code attached to that where they can watch the video. They hit the QR code because everybody knows how to use those now because of 2020. And then it goes back to a lead capturing page where now you're able to kind of drip on them slowly but surely, almost like combining Corfact with video and direct mail pieces. So that's a goal for me.
And your sphere, I'm assuming, not just the farm, but your sphere in the same context, right? Bringing them into the video experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Interesting. I've never heard the phrase digital farm. That's a way to attach like a thought process that we're very used to in this industry to something that's newer that people should be executing on. It's a really good
I love
mental hook.
Well, so Brooks, we really appreciate you being here. Some great content and ideas. We'll have links inside of the description of the pod for people to go check out what you do and then also what your company does. Again, contentdrip.io. Thanks for being here, Brooks. We greatly appreciate it. We've come out with an important new business model. We have it. What's it called again? It's something. What was it? It's
Digital Botox.
Digitalbotox.ai. It's going to be
great.
great.
Still be there. I'm going to be pissed.
Oh, that's funny. All right. We appreciate it, man. We'll look forward to having you back.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Listen, we care about you deeply, which is why we never want you to miss an episode of this podcast. Subscribe now. It's just a push of a button.